very good evening to all of you. I'm Juhi Rajput and you're watching Win-Win Power News. Let's begin with the top stories of the week. NTPC to foray into hydropower from 2012. REC declares dividend of Rs 214.67 crores. Gas price below approved price not possible, says Reliance Industries Limited. CERC reserves order on forward deals. Suzlon wins turbine order from Turkish firm. India bulls power to bid for ultra mega power projects. JSW Energy to tie up funds for 4,800 megawatt. And L&T raises Rs 2,900 crore for infrastructure and power projects. And now let's take a quick look on the other big stories of the week. The performance of the Power Ministry came in for criticism at the meeting of the Union Cabinet last week. This was due to the Ministry of Power's inability to meet the projected power generation targets. The issue is obviously critical for the Congress-led UPA as it is not only directly linked to growth performance indicators but also lends itself as a potential election campaign issue in the hands of the opposition. In states like Punjab and Uttar Pradesh, power cuts have risen to the extent of 10 hours each day in most towns and rural pockets. It is also an issue in Maharashtra and Haryana, states that are scheduled to go to polls next month. Union Minister of Power Mr. Sushil Kumar Shinde chaired the first meeting of the Special Advisory Group in New Delhi. The Special Advisory Group was set to expedite completion of the ongoing capacity addition projects on war footing, and it consists of experts, retired secretaries to the Government of India, nominees from FICCI, CII and BHEL. Mr. Shinde highlighted the constraints being experienced in the implementation of power projects and issues which need to be dealt with on an urgent basis to expedite the process of project implementation. He further mentioned that this specialized group has been formed to render advice based on their expertise and vast experience in various areas of the power sector. After deciding to set up ultra-mega power projects to improve power supply across the country, the government's next big step would be to set up 8 ultra-supercritical power plants. At the same time, the government plans to mandate equipment manufacturers to set up shops in the country to cater to these projects. The government is planning to set up 8 plants across the country of 800 megawatt each by next year. These power plants are fast becoming the system of choice across China, Europe and the US, which operate at higher temperatures and pressures and therefore achieve higher efficiencies than conventional boiler units, resulting in less coal use per megawatt hour. Reliance Power's 8,000 megawatt gas-fired power project in Dadri has received bids from at least half a dozen global and Indian companies for the engineering, procurement and construction contract. Even as the project, which is the biggest proposed gas-based power plant, so far awaits a Supreme Court decision on gas supplies. Global majors such as GE, Siemens, Alstom, Mitsubishi and domestic majors like Larsen & Toubro and BHEL have submitted their bids for the contract, which is estimated at $3 billion. India's largest private power producer, Tata Power, has announced that it will commission first 2 units of 800 megawatt each of its Mundra project in Gujarat by 2012. The power generated from the project would be relinquished by the Central Transmission Utility Power Grid to the beneficiary states including Gujarat, Maharashtra, Punjab and Rajasthan. The countdown for the Commonwealth Games 2010 has begun and the preparations are on a full swing. Here is our next report on how prepared Delhi is on the power front for the upcoming games. This summer, as the mercury and consequently the demand for electricity soared, Delhi's discoms fell short by massive margin in fulfilling the peak power. This has raised doubts over the power capital's ability to host a power-packed event like the Commonwealth Games next year.
Delhi faced one of its worst power crises in the summer of 2009. There were long power cuts, blackouts and voltage fluctuation across the city. While only 1200 megawatts was available from the state generation plants, the maximum demand soared above 4000 megawatts and peaked at 4408 megawatts. The discoms were blamed for not anticipating the demand and making adequate provisions to buy power.
This year in the month of June, we had a very difficult situation. The summer was very severe and there was a general shortage of power in the northern India. And just after that, we had rains which got delayed. So for that, a lot of power was required for irrigation purposes. So we had shortage on certain days. We had shortage up to 500 megawatt also, and this continued for a week or so. But what I would like to state here, that this was an extraordinary situation, and definitely the Delhi government with the distribution companies had planned it. We had planned up to 4,500 megawatt in the month of July, but the peak this time was much beyond our expectation.
While little respite is in sight in the short term with just 4,430 megawatts available during peak hours, the Power Ministry nevertheless hopes the demand during the Games will be met from 5 new projects that have been identified. The commissioning of electricity generation projects including Dadri, Jhajjar, Mejia and Pragati is planned before the Commonwealth Games. To ensure completion of these projects according to schedule, the government has constituted a high-level monitoring committee under the Power Secretary to monitor the various aspects of the implementation of these projects. At a time when DISCOMs are reluctant to buy expensive power to tide over the crisis, Delhi government is not taking any chance and has made arrangements for around 5,600 megawatts by entering into agreements for the anticipated demand with the CPSUs and the centre. Further, the centre has assured that the power from its share of unallocated quota, almost 4,000 megawatts, will be reserved for Delhi from October to December 2010 during the Commonwealth Games.
October is normally a very mild month, but still we are projecting a peak demand of almost 4,000 megawatt. This year in the month of October, it will be only not more than 3,500. But to be on safer side, we are planning to have a power requirement of 4,000 megawatt next year October. And by that time, total availability of power with us will be almost 6,000 megawatts. So as far as the sufficiency of power is concerned, will be self-sufficient. We'll have more than our requirement by next year October.
The national capital has been witnessing several protests against power cuts for the last few years. The power shortage has become a blazing issue, especially in the region. As the mercury continues to rise and monsoon gets delayed, the city faces severe power crisis. Considering that the capital will host the high-profile Commonwealth Games in 2010, hopefully the DISCOMs and the state can do what it takes to achieve a turnaround. It's time now to take a short break. On the other side, we have with us Dr. Pramod Deo, Chairperson CERC. Stay tuned.